1957, the Gold Sheet is the country's longest-running sports betting newsletter and has been serving bettors for over 6 decades. Whether you are a lifelong subscriber, used to buy it at the newsstand, or perhaps have never seen the Gold Sheet, we want to share this amazing March Madness offer with you. Get 5 weeks of access to both the college basketball and NBA Gold Sheet newsletter for only $29. This will give you daily access to both the complete NBA and college basketball reports, which includes power ratings, strength of schedule, average line, against the spread records, and more. Get all of this for under $1 a day. It's not your dad's newsletter where games were written a week in advance, but rather up-to-date stats, scores, injuries, and all of the information to make you a March Madness expert. Head to goldsheet.com and get your March Madness on for only $29.
Hey guys, welcome in on a very happy Friday here as the madness in full effect here for this month of March, and a relative calm night here in college basketball, but certainly some games are going to go a long way in determining what happens here over the next month or so, and we'll break a few of these games down with some best bets with 3 of the best on this Friday as we welcome back in Tony Mejia, Brian Leonard, and Mr. Tony Finn in the house, ready to rock and roll here today. Big card on the hardwood across the board, whether it be the NBA or college hoops here, Tony Mejia. So what do you got locked and loaded for us here tonight?
Well, I've got client plays coming up, one of which I will give out as my free play, and one of which just went to overtime because every Big South game either has to end on a buzzer beater or in overtime, apparently. And we have conference tournament action. So it's been a pretty decent run, better in NBA than college basketball of late. But yeah, last night fell a bucket short in Iowa, Michigan going over, and Kansas TCU. So that was a bitter few minutes for me. But I mean, we've got games every day. These seasons are on the line for all these teams. So it's nice to handicap because at this point, coaches are going to go with what they trust. You see plays in overtime that these coaches should recognize in terms of sets and whatnot. So we'll see some competitive ball down the stretch. And it's here. The madness has arrived, and we're digging in with fork and knife in hands.
Yep. Ready to rock and roll here tonight. Let us not forget, of course, the NHL also in full effect here tonight as we've got not only the NBA, but we got ourselves some NHL college hoops. And if anybody knows about the NHL, it's Brian Leonard continuing to roll there, Brian, in the NHL as well as college basketball. So what do you got for us here tonight, ready to go?
Yeah, I've just got one package up. Normally the all access for one day is $39. I dropped it down to $29. Had a losing day yesterday, lost both my hockey plays. That hasn't happened in a long time, but we did take 3 out of 4 in hoops. And today we've got 1 hockey, 2 college basketball, 1 NBA, and we've got all 4 of them for $29 up on the site. And looking to turn it around. We've had a few losing days in a row here. It's been a great 2022, but we got to turn this around, get you some more winners, and I believe we'll do that today.
All right, we're going to do it. Let's go, and nobody better to do it with than our man Tony Finn in the house here, Finn. Quite a roll here in college hoops for you as well. So talk to us. What do you got heading into tonight for us at WagerTalk.com?
I have 2 NBA. I'm making an executive decision on 1 more NBA. It will be made after the show. And for college, I have 1 college game tonight. 1 still working with you guys. I love the show. Maybe you guys can talk me into 1 more play. But right now, 1 college, 2 NBA, 1 more NBA to come, only at WagerTalk.
All right, guys, then let's do it here. No better place to start than game number 1 tonight as we are going to look at Buffalo taking on Kent State here, with Kent State opening up as a 2-point favorite. I'm seeing threes in a lot of spots now. 145.5 as a opening number, taking on Buffalo, who licked their wounds in that ass whooping they just got there the other night by Toledo. So what are we going to get against maybe the best team in the MAC here in Kent State tonight? Talk to us, Tony Mejia. Who are you liking this one?
Yeah, I mean, at this point, I think Toledo is the best team in the MAC, and they're proving it. And then you've got this next crop, which both of these teams are a part of, Kent State and Buffalo, and then you've got Ohio, and Akron's decent. So it'll be a fun MAC tournament in Cleveland. And this will be interesting, too, because Kent State wants to take a 12-game winning streak into without the Q anymore, into Cleveland for this event, and to get their air of superiority continuing, because they've been dominant since losing to Buffalo. That was their last loss back on January 21st. It was one off their season low. They scored just 51 points, lost 64-51 to these Bulls. So it'll be interesting to see how they respond at senior night. For them, they've got probably one of the top guard combinations in the entire conference, and they were both shut down and held to single digits when these teams played. So it'll be interesting to see how they respond with Sincere Carey and Malik Jacobs being honored before the game, and then looking to bounce back against a team that made them look bad, barely 6 weeks ago. So a fun game here. I think, to me, that first matchup was lower scoring than anybody expected. And I think this one will be too. Buffalo averages over 80 points per game. They still play at a fast pace, not quite as fast as they did under Nate Oates, but Jim Weitzel still has them going up 73 possessions per 100. It's up to Kent State to zone up, to control tempo. I think they were able to do it at UB Arena despite the loss. I think they'll do it at home as well. So my lean here is under 145.5. And judging by the spread, I mean, you get a team that's won 11 consecutive games and is at home for senior night, and you're only a 2-point favorite. That kind of raises alarm bells. Maybe Buffalo pulls the upset off again.
It feels like forever ago there, Brian Leonard, where these two teams actually played, and Buffalo beat them. Not the same team either way. So who do you give the advantage to tonight?
Yeah, Tony mentioned that score in the first game, 64-51, Buffalo in that contest. But if you look at the shot quality numbers, which is what I go off of, that's based on if those same shots were made on a consistent basis, same shots were taken, what would happen? And the total score in that game would have been 137. It still would have been, it was a 13-point loss for Kent State. It still would have been an 11-point loss. So the post-game win percentage was only 17%. So Buffalo had that number, had that game, and it was more of a higher scoring game, but they were still the better team. And I'm looking over Kent as of late, and Tony's right. They had that big winning streak going, but they've been very fortunate in that area. There's been 6 games that have been played with post-game winning percentages of 50% or less. They've won all 6 of those games, both against Akron, both against Bowling Green, Toledo, and Ohio. So we've got a lucky Kent State team here playing against Buffalo. My numbers put this about where it should be. We've got Buffalo, I believe, 2 spots ahead in my power rankings, actually, 118 to 120. So, Buffalo catching 3 right now is probably the way I would go based on Kent State being a little bit lucky so far. I do see a 3 minus 115 and a 3.5 minus 105 out there. 3, there's not a lot of key numbers in basketball action, but if there is, 3 would be an important one. If you like Buffalo, I think we can hold off. We may be able to catch that 3.5. It did open as 2, as Tony mentioned.
Yeah, so the question is here, Buffalo on the road, do you trust them, Tony Finn? Because senior night, that whole, final game, hoorah, what do you think we get from this Buffalo team on the road against Kent State?
Well, we know we're going to get 2 things. We're going to get a game that's played at tempo, and we know they will attack the offensive glass. Those are the things that this team loves to do, and when they're successful in transition and they're successfully out-rebounding or getting second-chance points off offensive rebounds, not only getting second chance points, but eliminating or at least taking away some possessions from the opponent. They're pretty good. In this case tonight, the one team that doesn't give up a lot of offensive rebounds is who? It's their opponent tonight. So really, I think you got to be with the home team tonight, right? You got to be with the home team on senior night and let the cards fall where they may. It's going to be an interesting game. I'm not on either side. I'm not in this room, but I sure got beat up, as you mentioned, Joe, the last time Buffalo took the floor and was embarrassed. So that's it. What was the final score in that game?
Still 100.
A lot too little.
I think. Yeah, it was more than 20, I'll tell you that. Way more than that. Not what Buffalo is used to by any stretch of the imagination. But they got an idea. Listen, they can right the ship tonight, get back on it. Better offensive team going on the road. They've won there before. We'll see if they can get the job done here against Kent State. In the meantime, we do have a couple of conferences still underway right now, those tournaments. One of them is in the Big South, and we got High Point getting ready to take on Winthrop here tonight, or actually in Charlotte, rather. This is going to be 6 o'clock Eastern time tip. Winthrop opened up as a 6-point favorite there with that total at 142. That seems to have risen just a little bit, but 14-2 in league play. They won the Big South. Pretty impressive, this Winthrop team. Do you like them here to get the job done there, Brian Leonard?
This team's played once this season. High Point at home wins 65-56. If you take a look at the shot quality numbers, they win 74-65. So a 9-point win either way. It was pretty dramatic. Post-game win percentage is 77. When you take a look at that in this game, may point you that direction. We do know that Winthrop's a little bit overrated. The record of the season is 20-8. Shot quality record is 17-11. But I do have some concerns here about this High Point team. Offensively, they're not very good. Defensively, they're terrible in isolation, 326. But Winthrop is only 321st. In offensive isolation, so they can't take advantage of that. But what they can do is Winthrop is 59th in the half court, and High Point's 297th defending the half court. So if Winthrop can keep this in a methodical pace, I think they win it. If they can't, then I think High Point gets the advantage. To be totally honest with you, I think the line's a little bit too high here, so I won't get involved. But you've got about a 100 spot differential from power ratings. Rankings. So Winthrop's a better team, but this could be the end of the season here for High Point, and I expect we get a pretty good effort, but not enough for me to get on this game.
High Point did upset the number 5 seed there in their game just a couple of days ago. Their UNC Asheville, I believe, actually yesterday. That game was a bit head-scratching to many. So here they are. Can they make it 2 for 2 as an underdog here, Tony Finn?
I like High Point here. I'm not, again, this is not a game I'm on that I'm giving to my clients, but but the Panthers 7-3 against the spread. Recently they've been good. They're 4-0 against the spread. Last 4 games overall, 8-2 against the spread. Last 10, beating teams, good teams. Most of those come against plus or 600% winning percentages or better, should I say. They beat Winthrop, as you guys discussed in the last matchup, 65-56. I think that was the margin at halftime in late January, wasn't it? It was basically what we're looking at is Winthrop. It's a good offensive team, playing good over the last month, but the bulk of their success, guys, came at home, 13-0. As the Eagles they were only like a 500 team on the road in neutral setting. So in this game, I think it's a close game. I think both of these guys, both of you guys have described it very well. In a coin flip game like this, I'll take the points. Give me High Point plus the points here.
Really comes down to it, Tony. If you think Winthrop's going to win, it's not a matter of they should avenge that loss, right? Question is this too high a number at this point?
Yeah, I mean, it might be. Look, this has been a different High Point team over the last few games because it's no longer Tubby Smith at the helm. It's his son, Gigi, who people probably remember as a player at Georgia. I think he played a little bit at Kentucky, too. It's his show now. And they've really sped things up a little bit because Tubby likes to play a defensive-minded, slower pace. And over the last few games, High Point's played a lot faster. Now, granted, the opposition has kind of dictated that because they've played Hampton a couple of times. They won 84-77 in overtime the other night, and then they've actually have a season-long 3-game win streak going under Gigi, and they won this game against Winthrop the first time they played, holding the Eagles to a season low 56 points. So do they have Winthrop's number? Is that performance enough to have Winthrop's full attention going into this game? The Big South tournament's been wild. Top seed Longwood is struggling with NCAAB as we speak, but it looks like they're going to get the cover in overtime, which is great for me and my clients because we're going to win that game. But this Winthrop team has been the dominant force in the Big South for over a decade. And Pat Kelsey moved on to the College of Charleston, so it's now Mark Prosser and his first season, and they actually did not win the regular season title for the first time in a while. So, we'll see how locked in this Winthrop team is in Charlotte for this one. Spread-wise, I think you hit it on the head, Joe. It's probably a little too high now for me. So I like the over. Just it's at 140, 141. And the fact that the regular season numbers are so skewed because High Point has not played as fast as they have of late tells me, and Winthrop is the highest scoring team in the league, tells me that I want to be on the high side here.
Yeah, they certainly sped it up to a little bit, though. Points could be coming here tonight in this one here, guys. So should be a fun one, and shows so should this next one here as we head to the Mo Valley. And a game that I feel like we just watched. Oh, we did last weekend, in fact. Southern Illinois taking on Drake in this one, with Drake a 3-point opening favorite, a total of 127. Listen, Drake pulled off the season sweep, but man, each one of those games was by the hair on their chinny chin chin, Tony Finn. So hell of a comeback last week to end up getting the 2-point win. Every time they've played, it's been close. The line says it's going to be close. Who do you think gets it tonight?
Here's the deal with the Bulldogs. Drake, they win with defense. They don't shoot. If you're depending on Drake to hit some threes to make a comeback or take the lead or win games, then you're not going to be over the long haul. You're not going to be a winner in this. For the most part, their backcourt's solid. Everything they do, Joe, is technically sound. They rebound well, they defend hard, they force turnovers, and they take high percentage shots. And they win low-scoring games. So let's put it this way: Southern Illinois, they don't have real big problems with low-scoring games. But here's the deal: they're a bit better at the free throw line. They do things, in-game things, or mission critical points of a game. A little bit better than Drake. So I'm a Southern Illinois fan tonight. I'm on Southern Illinois. I released Southern Illinois. So there's we are.
You got two teams that play one possession games here, Tony Mejia. It feels like just take the points. Whoever's getting them, take them in a matchup like this, a 3-6 matchup. What do you think?
Yeah, I mean, I'd be a little scared of if I was Drake, considering they looked in control of this game at home the other night. Halftime, they were up 34-20. And these Salukis are a lot better than they have been. Right? So Mullins has done a really nice job with this particular team. Marcus Domask, who's been one of the NBC's top players all season. And they came right back at Drake. It was a 62-60 final. These Bulldogs, for a Seinfeld reference, you love the Drake. Because at this point, you know what you're getting. They made the NCAA tournament last year. A lot of these guys that were injured, Roman Penn, Tank Hemphill, are now healthy. So Drake, to me, is a nice pick to win the NBC and go back to the NCAA tournament. Arch Madness in St. Louis should be something that they're primed to compete in, because they've won 7 of their 8 road games outside of Des Moines. So, from that standpoint, they should be battle tested. It's a veteran team. They just got to contain one of the MVC's top players, and if they do, I think they'll pull out a victory. Probably not going to be a client play for me, but my lean is to Drake and making a big run to face either a Northern Iowa or somebody else in that MVC final on Saturday.
So, Brian, it's no secret.
Sunday.
Fading Drake has been extremely profitable this year. 9-19 against the number. They don't cover often, and I don't know. Are they covering this one here tonight, in your opinion?
Yeah, it's also tough to lay points on a team that plays really good defense, and they're good offensively, but they don't give up a lot of points. In fact, the two games against Southern Illinois this season, Drake wins 60-59 on the road and 62-60 at home. But in reality, if you take a look at the shot quality ratings, there should have been 115 and 117 points scored. So even though the Drake won, it should have even been lower scoring games. The thing with Drake is they can be beat in transition.
Gotcha. Know where you were going.
Guys. Sorry.
Yep.
Sorry. I was going to say they get beat. Anyway,
Don't do it.
They're
Don't do it,
317. I was going to say something. Don't want to get in trouble.
Don't do it.
Don't do it. But transition, 317th, depending on transition. But Southern Illinois doesn't do that very often. They rank through 219th from a frequency standpoint. They run 292nd offensively in transition. So it's not going to happen. So it's going to be a half-court game. Here you got a Drake team that's 37 in the country in the half-court offensively. I think that gives them an edge here. What I really like out of this game is the total. I like the under in this game. Like I said, that Southern Illinois can't run. And I did a little research here on the Enterprise Center. This is where St. Louis Blues play. Used to be called the Kiel Center and the Scotch Trade Center. But this is a stadium that's 19,260. Well, most of these teams in this conference are either in the 7,000 up to 11,000 range. So they're going to get a different shooting eye in this building. And you've already got two teams that are very good defensive teams, and I expect another low-scoring game here. So I like the under here, and I'll be using this a little bit later in the show.
All right, good stuff there. Now we will, of course, transition ourselves. We'll do it, Brian, to some best bets here, as we've got plenty of games here to choose from. Some interesting spots, not only in these mid-major tournaments that are happening right now. And we already had a great one there with North Carolina, AT&T, and Longwood, number 1 versus number 9 there. And I know our producer, Robert, behind the scenes, was screaming as the game went into overtime. And North Carolina, AT&T was nice enough to score just 2 points and get blown out there in the end. But Longwood advances. Too bad for North Carolina, AT&T. And that's the kind of things we've got going on with these mid-major programs. The March Madness, Tony Mejia. So is there another one of these games here on the card that you think we're going to get some madness here tonight that you like more than the rest?
Well, how much time we got? We have 10 minutes. So this is entirely for our live viewers in about the game went to overtime, so there'll probably be a 30-minute grace period in between games. But coming up, we've got Charleston Southern and their 1-15 record that just picked up their 6th win of the season. Was an upset at the buzzer. March Madness personified to continue to live on. But it's a bad team, and they beat UNC Asheville, who's not a good team. Now they're playing USC Upstate, who's not a good team. And those two teams, Upstate probably the best known for being the alma mater of the NBA's Torrey Craig, who played on both the Bucks and Suns last year and is now back with the Suns. His alma mater won only 5 games last season. They've really been one of the better stories in the Big South this year, winning 10 games and actually finishing 4th. They're laying 5.5, 6 points against the Cinderella Charleston Southern Buccaneers in, like I said, 15, 20 minutes. We're going to fade Cinderella, riding USC Upstate. The Bucks are still a bad shooting team. That's been their MO all season, even though they just pulled off an upset. They shot 7 for 21 in that game. USC Upstate just comes off a 78-73 win in OT against Charleston Southern the last time these teams played on February 19th. So it's not like they'll come in here with a big head expecting to move on. You got to work for it. Hopefully it doesn't go overtime. And I think down the stretch, USC Upstate is a very solid free throw shooting team. So that's really the key with covering games down the stretch. These are seasons on the line, people. So what we just saw in this first game with NCAA and Longwood, once we get into overtime, NCAA's missing three-pointers. They've got to foul. They've got to keep their hope alive. So long as you're making free throws, you're beating that spread once the game ends. So that's what we expect coming up in Charlotte at Bojangles. We like USC Upstate -5.5 over Charleston Southern.
Yeah, pretty much the first line, too, right? The first game there, I think it was right around 5.5. They won by 5, so depending on where you got it. So Tony's going, give me Upstate to revenge that non-cover in the first one. I love it. Talk to us here. Brian Leonard, where are you going here tonight? Which one of these games did you like more, well, a little more than the rest did?
Yeah, we'll go back to the Southern Illinois Drake game. As I mentioned earlier, from a shot quality standpoint, the two meetings between these two earlier, we're looking at 117 and 115 points. And now you're playing a team that you just faced your last game, so you should know them very well. You're also playing in a stadium that seats 7,000 more people than what you're used to, and you haven't been playing there. This is a hockey arena. So that could have an effect on the court. I like the under here. We're getting about 10 more points than the first two games really played out from a shooting standpoint. So we're getting that, and we're getting teams that know each other very well because they just playing in a big stadium they're not used to playing. All points to the under to me. I like the under in this game.
All right, two good defenses. Looking at the under in that one. How about it, Tony Finn? Which one of these games did you circle for us here?
I didn't circle any of the ones that we discussed. If it's okay, I'm going to jump to Missouri State. It's a game kind of that I've been waiting for. Yeah, I'm waiting for this game mostly because we spoke a little bit to this game, or at least this team last week. And in this game on another show, I said it didn't really matter who came out of the Valpo Evansville contest. I said regardless who comes out, as long as M State's not giving more than 15 points. And that's what I wrote when I told you guys that's what I was going to lay. It's not what the line is, but as long as they were giving less than 15, I thought that they were the best bet on the board tonight. So Valpo, who doesn't defend, guys, I mean, they can't play defense, right? They just gave up 30-plus at halftime to the worst offensive team in the conference. And it's not that Missouri Valley is a great conference. So in the first two games against the Bears, Valpo allowed 1.16 points per possession in a 17-point loss mid-January, January 15th, I think it was. So, of course, they went to the film room, studied really hard, went to game plan, and said, this is how we're going to prevent Missouri State from being so effective and efficient. Next game, they allowed 1.31 points per possession in an 18-point loss. Valpo couldn't even crack 1 point in either game offensive efficiency. Give me Missouri State tonight, and not just a blowout, but a game where they shouldn't even been played. I 20-plus points, Missouri State over the best defensive team in Missouri Valley. It's sarcasm.
Yeah,
Missouri
I know
State.
what you were going there.
Yep,
Mizzou, too, don't forget. Bye. They had that bye, too. Valpo had to play a game last night, which wasn't much of a game there.
4% winner for me last night, Valpo.
Yeah, against Evansville. So should be an interesting matchup. Not according to Tony Finn, though. It's going to be an ass whooping is what it sounds like. Let's see what our friends from the Gold Sheet have in store for us tonight. They're going to the BYU, that is, taking on Loyola Marymount. Shouldn't be much of a game here. Double digits, I believe, 10, 11, 11 and a half, somewhere in that ballpark there. They're saying lay it here. I'm sorry, they're saying go over in this one. I'm actually laying it. But yes, go over the total in this one. BYU against Loyola Marymount. This is a great write-up here, guys, too. You can check it out by visiting us on our Twitter page by heading over to @WagerTalk. We post all the Gold Sheet plays of the day there, not to mention goldsheet.com, guys. Some great opportunities, some great information, more write-ups on the games coming up. It is a great handicapping tool at your disposal if you head over to goldsheet.com. All right, on this Friday, one more game I'm going to go with here, and it is 6 o'clock Eastern time. I'm going to go with the red hot, and I mean red hot, Western Michigan squad taking on a team going the other way in Ball State. So I got no problem taking the 3.5 points on a team that I believe now 7-1 against the number in their last 8. The Broncos not only cover, you may want to sprinkle a little something on the money line with them as well to win this game outright. All right, our best bet recap here. We've got Tony Mejia. Get ready. It's coming up for those of you joining us live. USC Upstate. Lay the 5.5. Brian Leonard. Defense, and more defense with Drake in Southern Illinois. The under 126.5. Tony Finn says Mizzou State getting the bye, rested, coming over. See you, Valpo laid the 10.5. I'm going to go Western Michigan, plus those 3.5 points against Ball State. Sprinkle a little something on the money line. And our friends from the Gold Sheet, the Loyola and BYU over 142.5 is the way to go. And, of course, guys, best bets for not only tonight, but all throughout the weekend available over at WagerTalk.com. If you come by and visit both Tony Mejia, Tony Finn, Brian Leonard, guys, all sports across the board. Ready to go, locked and loaded here. Also NBA, also NHL. It's a loaded weekend, guys. Hop on board by heading over to WagerTalk.com. All right, if you hit that bell in the upper right-hand corner, you'll get notified as the real madness kicks in on Monday next week as tournament time across the landscape. We've got you covered all week long. Come back and join us there. And on behalf of the Tonys, Mejia and Finn, along with Brian Leonard, guys, appreciate you hanging with us here. Best of luck with your plays tonight. We'll be back on Monday. We'll see you then. Good luck, though.
Between now and Selection Sunday on March 13th, there are still tons of regular season college basketball action to go. Plus, all of the conference tournaments and Wager Talk and Sports Memo are announcing their March Madness Bonanza special, which includes the rest of college basketball regular season, conference tournaments, NCAA tournament through the national championship, and any plays released in the NIT or CBI tournaments. Sign up for this promotion now at your favorite handicappers homepage and get the rest of the college basketball season through the national championship on Monday, April 4th for just $177. That's under $5 a day for one of the best betting experience in sports. Act fast as the March Madness Bonanza special is only available for a limited time.